Today we're in Añana in the Basque Country in Spain to visit what is a true hidden gem of the region. This is a proper city of salt. We have terrace after terrace after terrace of salt ponds. And what's special about this salt valley is that none of it comes from the ocean, but it actually comes from nearby salty water springs directly from the earth. Here we have three types of salt. We have Flor de Sal, which is the salt that comes to the surface and is collected to the surface. It never touches the bottom of the terrace. And then we have mineral salt. And we also have another special kind of salt, which actually doesn't come from the salty water, but actually comes from its wooden structure underneath. There used to be 125 families working in the salt ponds every day. After a decline where the site risked to almost disappear entirely, a new foundation has been restoring it, salt terrace by salt terrace, and now there are 8 salt harvesters that are working in the area. This is such a special place. It is stunning to see, even though it is very, very hot. All this light reflected on me, I'm feeling it, but I'm really, really excited to be exploring it. Let's take a walk down the salt valley of Añana.
See what are they doing, the workers.
There are 8 harvesters or Salineros working today. All come from families with a long heritage in the valley.
Yo nací aquí, en este pueblo. Me crié aquí y luego marché fuera y ahora llevaré unos 14 años aquí. Mis padres, mis abuelos, mis bisabuelos han vivido aquí. Este trabajo es duro. Si tienen otros trabajos se van a hacer otra cosa. Hay que estar en invierno con agua, con frío, en verano con el sol, calor, sudor.
Salineros harvest salt during the summer. In winter, they dedicate their time to restoring and maintaining the terraces.
Esto estaba todo así, como aquello. Esto se está restaurando.
If you like to taste the water,
Yes, it's like seawater.
but 7 times more salty. It's more mineral.
Today, on this warm July day, Clemente is harvesting the Flor de Sal, the most premium salt produced in the Añana Valley. Can I go? It's all right? Yeah.
Está fría.
To collect the Flor de Sal, Salineros use this tool called rodillo colador.
Es como un colador con agujeros para que la sal común que se queda por aquí, con esos agujeros pues no la cogemos. Cogemos más fina la flor. Si no cogeríamos todo, ¿entiendes? Y por eso tiene como un colador y te quedas con la flor de sal. Aquí, sí. Mira, tienes aquí. Esta es la flor. Y esto sería, ahora coge un poco, pero la mineral. Luego, si algunas flores de estas se nos quedan también, pero bueno, se rompen y son para sal. Cuando rompen al final es todo sal. Porque cuando están húmedas, a nada que tocas fuerte la rompes y sería sal mineral. Al final se mezcla un poco todo. Nosotros cogemos la flor, igual la más bonita que hay, la más, y lo demás pues se mezcla todo para sal mineral. Y luego hay temporadas también, ya te digo, estos días hechos raros, porque ha habido días que no ha habido mucho calor, que ha habido vientos muy fuertes, igual también, y la flor se queda un poco como más fea, y en sitios que no la cogemos. Cogemos en las zonas que es más bonita, que está más para coger. Haciendo bueno en verano, que te vienen todos los días con grados de calor seguido y tal, al final coges mucho. Pero es todo, es que nosotros dependemos del tiempo.
Imposible de controlar.
Claro, eso él nos controla a nosotros.
These delicate crystals form on the surface of the brine only under the right conditions.
Aquí tiene que ser el sol y algo de viento, viento sur caliente. La verdad que ahora estos días pues no ha calentado mucho, calienta a ratos, hace casi bien frío alguna vez y ya ves, tienen mucha agua. Normalmente esto se queda más seca, hay como estas de por aquí, que tienen como más seco, pues se queda como más cantidad de sal. Pues si hace más calor, si hay un viento que no sea un viento muy fuerte, calor, pues entonces evapora mucho antes, sale más cantidad de sal.
The first step is to fill in the platform, then we have to wait for 6 hours, then we have to stir it. The next day we have the Flor de Sal. It's 1 day and a half to have that Flor de Sal. That's just the beginning. That are the very first crystals of the Flor de Sal. They're crystallizing.
La flor pues la usa mucho para carnes, pescados, pues muy chuletones, chuleta, un poco más sibarita. Hay gente que lo utiliza para todo. Yo, por ejemplo, estoy acostumbrado a la sal común y no suelo utilizar la flor. Para el pescado, para la carne, un asado y esto, pues se queda mucho más, bien. No es tan gorda como la otra, se deshace enseguida mucho más fácil. Sí, con una chuleta buena también.
Okay. At the bottom of the pan is the finer mineral salt.
Hoy hemos cogido esas de ahí abajo, hemos cogido la sal común. De aquí cogemos la flor, mañana cogemos la sal común de aquí y de allí la flor.
Salineros harvest mineral salt in the early hours of the morning, before the heat of the day.
We collect the salt very humid still. We have a little bit of water, and it's important because if not, salt stick at the bottom, and it's like a stone, you know.
Más o menos un cuadro de estos, una media, en un anual te da 1.100 kilos, 1.200 kilos. Hay veranos que no son tan calurosos, igual son 800 o 900 kilos la diferencia, ¿no? Pero eso depende del tiempo. Por ejemplo, este junio, julio ha llovido mucho y ha costado mucho más, le cuesta mucho más. Nos las lavan, te rompe la sal, la deshace. No hacemos tanta.
La lluvia no está buena.
La lluvia es mala. La lluvia, si llueve, aquí por ejemplo, si llueve suave 2 litros, esperas un poco más en el tiempo y se evapora el agua y queda la sal. Pero si llueven 20, 22 litros, al final tienes que limpiar, tienes que quitar todo y volver a hacer otra vez. Porque es demasiado agua dulce. Y le costaría una eternidad empezar otra vez, pues la limpiamos con escobas y todo eso y luego ya de los pozos volvemos a llenar solamente agua salada y haces otra vez. Empiezas otra vez la producción.
After harvesting, Flor de Sal dries in these baskets for a couple of days to lose excess moisture. Mineral salt is stored just below the terraces through a small door called boquera. There are some really big mountains of salt here. They are referred to as bells.
Mira, ahí hay 2 terracicos pequeños.
Sí.
Que ahí seguramente que se ven las campanas.
¿Para eso tengo que bajar por aquí o me voy...?
Por aquí abajo y te metes por donde nosotros andamos con la máquina, ¿sabes? Para meter la sal.
Vale, o sea, por aquí...
El primer puente te metes por la madera que tenemos ahí puesta.
Vale.
Hay 2 terrazos pequeños que ahí se verá la campana.
Vale. Let's see. Can go here. I don't know if we will see any salt. Here, no. And here we have salt. Look.
So this is all the salt so far of the season?
Yes. From this year.
It's a lot.
So the salt has to be here until October, drying naturally.
Under the wooden platforms, you can also find a third type of salt, one that is unique to Añana, Chuzos.
Yeah, that's that's only the starters. Okay, as you know, the wood has some holes, right? So the brine goes inside, and only by evaporation, this crust of salt is formed. It has a name. It's el zoquín. This zoquín is protecting the wood, and sometimes we have some stalactites of salt. That stalactites, which each one is different, no? Because the wind and the sun is evaporating each drop. And at the end of the summer, we collect them, and we can use them directly on our dish. We rape it.
Oh, like a cheese.
Like like a cheese or like una trufa, like a truffle, no, of salt.
Yeah, it's nice. So it tastes different than the other salts?
Well, it's made different because it's very fine. Because it's a drop by drop, so you can see the layers of salt that are drying, and little by little it becomes a stalactite. In the past, they were considered imperfections of the structures.
Yeah, so here everything is covered in salt. I mean, even the
Yes,
stones here.
the walls,
Yeah.
yeah.
The name Flor de Sal literally means flower of salt. It's not because it looks like flowers, but it's actually because it's a direct translation of the French Fleur de Sel, which itself is a wordplay connected to the verb affleurer, meaning to rise to the surface. That is exactly how this type of salt forms when the wind gently agitates the brine. France also has traditional salt marshes on the west coast, in Brittany and in the Loire regions. I visited Cédric, a salt producer, a couple of years ago for an assignment. There, the salt is harvested from the Atlantic seawater. One interesting difference is that Fleur de Sel in France develops much smaller crystals compared to the Fleur de Sal here in Añana. This comes down to several factors: the cooler and more humid climate in France, the much warmer and drier conditions here in Spain, and the salinity of the water itself. Seawater has a lower salt concentration, while the springs at Añana contain around 230 grams of salt per liter. The salt is stored throughout the summer until October. Then it is moved to another warehouse to be cleaned and packaged. Here, some workers are cleaning last year's salt entirely by hand. They didn't want to be filmed, but they were kind enough to show me the process.
Esto tenemos que hacer todos los días, porque la sal está dura. Esas cajas de atrás, que es como vienen, y está dura. Y así es como suele venir siempre. Entonces, para que veas lo que está a veces está muy dura, es como una piedra.
¿Y qué tipo de impuridad?
Pues estos puede haber algún bicho, alguna piedra, insectos.
Si vuelan, se quedan pegados en el agua y ahí se mueren. Y hojas, pajitas que vuelan. Todo, la naturaleza es
Pelos, pelos también, pelos.
pelos.
¿Ah, sí?
Sí, claro. Es que está en el exterior y ahí pues hay de todo. Al fin y al cabo, mira, esto es todo lo que desechamos. Pues eso, pajas.
Mira, por ejemplo, esta piedra que tiene... Pues esto igual tiene la greda, que es el barrillo este que usan, que es como arcilla. Pues se mancha, esto no lo puedes machacar. Si lo machacas, esto no se puede comer. O sea, que hay que tirar.
The Añana Salt Valley stretches for about 120,000 square meters. Until the 1960s, the terraces were divided among 125 families, each owning a few. When refined industrial salt from the Mediterranean became widely available, the valley began to decline.
La sal no se pagaba, no puedes competir con la sal marina, es imposible. Y al final la gente pues nos fuimos marchando hasta que ahora se ha vuelto otra vez con la fundación y esto. Joder, ahora nosotros la trabajamos más delicatessen, ahora se paga mejor y está más. Pero antes no se trabajaba la flor, no se trabajaba, era solo la sal común. No había medios para trabajarla como se está haciendo ahora. Y entonces competías con esa sal, que es mucho peor, pero al final no podías competir.
In 1999, the Añana Salt Foundation, together with local institutions, launched a restoration project to save this historic salt landscape. Of the 5,600 terraces that once existed here, about half have now been recovered, and between 220 and 230 are currently producing salt. We still haven't addressed one thing. How does salt even get here? The nearest sea is the Atlantic Ocean, about 80 kilometers from here. And don't be fooled by the river we see flowing through the valley, this is fresh water. To find the source of the muera, the brine, we need to climb higher into the Añana Valley.
Look, here we have 3 main channels. That is one of them. That is called Quintana. We have Quintana, Chuzo, y el rollo de en medio. And 4 kilometers of wooden channels that transports the brine, salty water, from the top, from the springs, by gravity. They are built together from one piece with another piece, all wood. Look, that's an ancient warehouse. That salt is very old.
So this one, why was it never harvested?
Well, they decided to let it here because it was, one reason it was very difficult to get out the salt, and at the time, this specifically year, they were convinced that they will not sell that salt. So they decided to let that inside. And today it's very difficult to get that out. It's already a rock. Yeah. The part that is active is just in front, and the rest is we are recovering. And an easy way to maintain all that platforms is to press the clay and then keep it with salty water, so it maintains itself for longer. The traditional platform is always built with clay, with 20 centimeters clay.
Clay and then wood at
the wood at the bottom, and then clay, and until the 19th century they made salt on that clay. But it was sometimes not so white. Sometimes you could gather it also with a little bit of clay. But we have to think that at the time, before the 19th century, salt was important to preserve aliments. It was not so important that salt to be white. But in the 19th century, they decided to put something on the top to make a whiter salt. And they started to put some pebbles, some rolling stones on that. So it was easy to get only the white salt.
So what's now? You still have the pebbles?
No. We, well, you can see here that some of them are built with cement, with concrete. It's easy for them to get that white salt and to work on it. But we are also recovering part of the valley with pebbles, part of the valley with clay, as it was, and also with limestones. We are experimenting with limestones on the clay. When you water the wood with salty water, the tiny animals that eat the wood cannot enter. It's a good protection. Here we have a lot of wood, so we have to preserve that wood. Look, here we have a very special place. That's one of our springs. that is La Ontana. All that is salty in the valley, we are canalizing to the main channel. We have a lot of salt inside the earth. Our geological phenomenon that is called the Apiro is taking 6 kilometers long, 3 kilometers wide of surface, so 1,600 hectares, okay, of land. Oh. And below that, we have that salt, a huge quantity of salt. We can go inside until 2.5 kilometers deep, and we can find salt. Look, that's an ophita. That's a volcanic rock. Look, that is one of our springs. That's the most natural that we have. That is called El Pico. And we get a little quantity of water here. It's very close to one spring that is not salty, but fresh water. In the same place, look, that's salty and that's fresh water.
Oh yeah, that's the one that then goes through the...
Yes, that goes to the river. It's one of them. That is also freshwater river. And look, we have that part, fresh water, and here we have salty water. So that's the highest point of the valley. From here, all the water goes down, canalized through the channels. Look, that's the main spring called Santa Engracia. From this one, we get 1.6 liters per second. So day, night, we have always that quantity of water rising up. And from that point, it's flowing all by gravity down. I'm showing you something. Look, here we have the Artemia salina, that tiny crustacean, which is living in that kind of wells. Look. And tiny. They are only females, and they are oviparous and viviparous at the same time. They could divide in two. Where the salty water is mixed with the fresh water of the rain, they find their home, and they are living there, and they eat some microalgae that are living in that kind of wells. That's the Dunyanella salina. It doesn't disturb the salt because it cannot live when it's too salty. So when it's too salty, it disappears. It's a good balance with the nature, no?
Today, the channel is constantly running, but when the terraces were individually owned, there used to be a strict schedule with each family allocated specific hours to use the brine. The springs date back around 251 million years, to a time when all continents were united and this entire valley was submerged under an ancient ocean. Over time, tectonic shifts trapped part of the sea underground, creating the highly concentrated brine that feeds the terraces today. Today, the Añana Valley sustains itself through the sale of its salt, but also by becoming a gastronomic destination. Culinary talents like Jokin, son of a salinero, are giving Añana salt a new life through modern cuisine.
Siempre digo que yo cierro un círculo donde mi padre siempre hace la sal, trabaja la sal, mi madre la limpia, la envasa y yo la utilizo y le doy valor. Este plato tenemos el verdel que lo curamos en la salmuera del Valle Salado, lo curamos durante 2 horas y después lo ahumamos. Le ponemos unas láminas de manzana y un escabeche de manzana. Un aceite verde de hierbas. Terminamos con salicornia, unas algas del mar, dando referencia a un mar que hubo en Salinas de Añana, el mar Tetis. Y lo terminamos un aire de hinojo. Este plato lo curamos en la salmuera del Valle Salado. El agua de manantial tiene en torno de 230 gramos de sal por litro. Entonces nosotros, para rebajar eso, utilizamos agua y mezclamos para jugar con la salinidad. Una crema de zanahoria, escabeche. Este plato nos recuerda mucho a los ahumados. Trabajamos con puerro de nuestra huerta en temporada, lo asamos y lo confitamos. La flor de ajo tiene un sabor característico, como el nombre indica, a ajo. Le va a dar el toque de acidez.
¿Es local?
Dime, sí, de aquí mismo, de nuestras plantas. Colocamos un poco de almendra, que le va a dar un poco de crujiente al plato, y terminamos con el crujiente de puerro. Aquí tenemos uno de los tesoros del Valle Salado. Es un producto que es muy escaso, un producto que se hace con el sol y el viento. Gota a gota se va produciendo la estalactita de sal en los canales de la muera.
Okay.
Esto nadie lo come. Sí.
Un segundito.
Y así. Al final, por un lado, el vivir aquí ha sido duro, un pueblo donde somos menos de 150 habitantes, pero siempre lo he agradecido porque hemos podido estar libres en este pueblo. Siempre tengo una anécdota, que cuando yo era pequeño, el Valle Salado estaba prohibido para nosotros, porque era peligroso. Era una época donde el Valle Salado era donde la decaída, donde el Valle Salado no se trabajaba y siempre fue un lugar prohibido para nosotros. Hoy, en cambio, después de 31 años, es uno de los lugares más importantes de Euskal Herria. Bueno, espera. Ahí está de mi padre.
¿Qué es la sal? Pues bueno, esa se diferencia de una cosa muy especial, que es una salina de interior,
Sí.
una salina de manantial, una salina de un mar de Tetis de hace 250 millones de años. Aquí no hace falta calentadores ni cristalización como en los mares, en el mar Mediterráneo. El tema marino tiene lo que tiene, residuos de petróleo, aceites, microplásticos, etcétera. Pero aquí, si por ejemplo nos encontramos un microplástico de un manantial de hace 250 millones de años, pues aquí no hay nada, no existe, esa materia no existe.
Thank you so much for watching. I hope you have enjoyed this visit of the Añana Salt Valley. It is such an incredible place. Honestly, words can't describe how beautiful it is. Even though the sun is very strong, it is truly up there in the list of some of the most beautiful places that I've ever seen. And I want to know, have you tried this salt, and what do you think of it? And if you have not tried it, is salt produced where you are, and how is it called? How it is harvested? Does it come from the ocean? Does it come from salty springs, or does it come from somewhere else? It's so beautiful to discover all these different salts and to meet the people who are preserving the heritage. I think that is what I'm taking away from here. It's resilience. Yes, this is a beautiful place, but without the resilience to really keeping it alive, it wouldn't exist, and it would just be an archaeological site. And it's so beautiful to see people actually working here and caring so much for the salt. Thank you again for watching, and I'll see you again in my next video. Bye bye.